Hello people, JMT here, and today I'm recording the not so long awaited water guide. I'm doing this today because first, I don't think I ever did a water guide. Second, it's probably the most broken comp on the patch right now. It's very well flavored. I think there's a lot of insane things that we can do with this comp, and I think you all deserve to be shared what I know and what I've noticed. So, let's first look at what the water synergy does, shall we? So if I go into the wiki, we'll see synergies and then water. Water Pokemons generate more PP, have 30% chance to dodge attacks, and can be fished with a rod. With Water 3 and Rendons, it's plus 4 PP every second, and you get an old rod. With Water 6, it's plus 8 PP per second, and you get a good rod. And with 9 Primordial C, it's plus 12 PP per second and get a super rod. What does this mean? It means that with Primordial C, Water 9, you basically got more than triple base mana generation. I think base mana generation is something like 5 per second. And that's absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane because you have to consider that the more water levels you have, the more water units you play, and the more mana you technically generate because of the multiplicity of the units. With Water 9 and 9 unit, you generate plus 12 times 9, which is, if I'm not mistaken, 108 mana per second in pure bonus. And that's absolutely insane. And if you look at the weather, because you will, by a matter of fact, activate the rain because of Water 8, you also get plus 3 PP per second for your entire comp, which makes it to plus 15, which quadruples your base mana generation. I repeat, quadruples. Let's just quickly check. Wild Game Booster, missing. Do we have the exact data? Do we have the exact data somewhere? I don't think we have the exact data, so maybe I'm mistaken about this one. Maybe I am mistaken about this one. Maybe in data? No, not in data. Okay, whatever. Let's consider it's probably 5. I think it is probably 5. Anyway, lots of mana generation, so you will cast a ton of spell. Additionally, the rods actually fish you 1 water unit per round if you play the round against a player. This doesn't work on PvE stages, which means that if you have a free slot on your bench, you will actually get for free 1 of these water units, and the more levels of water, the better it gets. If you have only Water 3 activated, you will be able to fish for Magikarp. And once you get 8 of them, you can actually get Gyarados, which is a pretty solid unit, even though I don't think it's necessary to play Gyarados right now. If you play Water 6, you will be able to fish for Feebas, and if you get 6 of them, you get the Milotic. And to be fair, I think Milotic is absolutely awful, so I would never play for Milotic. But you can notice both of them are dragons. Finally, if you are Water 9, you can fish for Wishy-Washy. And if you get 3 Wishy-Washys, it evolves into the school form, and then each and every additional Wishy-Washy joins the school. And this is a very good frontliner. This one you could definitely be playing. And I don't know about Arokuda. I don't know when or where, under what condition you can fish for this guy. I just don't know. So, probably try to play for Wishy-Washy, Water 9, whatever. Let's take a look at some things that we can immediately notice. Look at the sheer number of additional picks. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 additional picks are water. This means that your water setup will change a lot depending on the additional picks. Looking at the additional picks is something you should always do while playing water, just because of the sheer number of them. There will always be water additional availables, which means that there's a lot of data that you will need to learn, because most of these units you won't see them every day, but they can be useful in their own right. Also, look at the sheer number of unique. This one doesn't count, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, it's 7 because this guy can't be fished with water. So there's 7 different water additional that you could be getting. And that's a lot. The difference between one water comp and the other can be night and day, depending on what you get. Also, you get 2 hatch units, so you can play for babies in the early games. Water is tied to 2 synergies. It is tied to Psychic, because Psychic actually gives you more ability power, and the more mana you generate, the more spells you cast, the more ability power becomes strong. You know? And if you look at the number of water Psychic units, there's 1 additional here, 2 additional here, 3 regional here, 4 additional here if you evolve how is it fucking called? Clumperl. And there's a 5th one here if you get this unique. So there's a lot of options to get Psychic and water to work together, either through uniques and additionals or through stones, because both water and Psychic have a stone, you know? And water Psychic is probably the best version of the comp. When you play water, you want water 9, whatever happens, and then you probably want as many Psychic levels as possible. That's probably what you are looking for. Then you should also be looking out for Aquatic. Aquatic heals you. The wave does some damage, and it also clears the negative status duration. So having Aquatic 2 to Aquatic 4 activating ain't that difficult, but it's less prioritized than Psychic. One of the good units for this is Clamperl before it evolves. It is also where is it? This guy I pretty much always keep in my comps. Between the spell and the fact that it's Aquatic, it's actually pretty strong. You also have this Sobel, and then if you get one of these two, if you get the Fion, then it's even better. If you have to choose between portals and you can get a water portal, look out for an aquatic portal instead, because all of these units work perfectly fine in water. Just make sure to have a water stone for them. Water can also be played with dragons, and that's because you can fish for the Milotic, you can fish for the Gyarados. There's this guy that is a dragon that can be given a water stone. But if you look at water unit, you also have this little guy that is basically a dragon. So you have a lot of ways to activate water levels through dragons. There's also the Palkia here. So if you get Palkia in the late game and can get Horsea, you can actually, with a third dragon, activate Dragon 8, Water 9, even at level 8, through the dragon setup. Because dragons, if you do not know, once you have 3 of them, they double their second synergy, which means that both Horsea and Palkia will activate you 2 levels of water, which means that with the Dragon 3 you get 2 water spots for free, right? So you need 7 water units plus 2 spots for free through Horsea and Palkia, and then you have 8th unit that's a dragon, and that can be pretty much anything. Let's look at the best dragons. it could be, let's say, it could be Altaria, it could be Gumi, it could be Gible, whatever you want. You know, that's something to keep in mind. Let's look at the design of what am I doing? Let's look at the design of the water units, and you'll notice that you can actually put them into a few categories. Water has a lot of tanks. The tanks would be Mudkip, that actually heals itself and gain mana whenever the opposing team actually casts an ability, which means that this guy heals and heals and heals and heals again, and that's extremely good. You also get the Psyduck. Psyduck steals PP from the target and gets it as a shield, which means that you can actually get a gigantic shield over and over and over and over and over again, which makes it extremely tanky. You also have where I don't no not this. You also have this guy is the frontliner, even though its ability isn't the tank ability. But notice that it generates 10 PP to all allied Pokemon whenever used. We'll talk about this later. This guy is also a good frontliner. Notice one range, everything. You also have, where is it? You also have Wailmer. Wailmer is an extremely good frontliner, lots of HP. Dives into the enemy team. It's basically Lapras V2. Then you have the Barboach. Barboach also extremely good unit. Deals a lot of damage. Can't be CC'd when it's rain, which is extremely good for a frontliner. Good defensive stats once you evolve it, especially good. And then you could even have the Cursola, and Cursola is actually pretty insane. Just a bit tough to have. Is this guy even a tank? It is. It is definitely a tank. So you could also be playing the Shellos. There's a lot of options for frontliners, and a lot of them are actually epic additionals. So if you want to have a bulky comp, look out for the epic additionals. Mudkip is always available. If you have a water region, Psyduck is always available. So you always have at least these two. You have at least these two. These two. These two. You have at least these two to make your frontline. Otherwise, maybe try getting a frontline through your uniques, because Lapras is a tank, Relicanth is a tank, and you could... this guy is very clearly a tank. This guy is also very clearly a tank. So you have... This guy is also pretty tanky, by the way. So you have a lot of water uniques that are tanky. Just keep in mind that if you get the Iron Bundle, the Keldeo, or the Fion, your frontline may be lackluster, you know? So you will really need to look out for these additional epics. Or the water region. And then you've got the carries. And the carries all do their thing in the same way, and you'll notice that through the spells. Squirtle deals damage to all enemy behind the target. So it shoots... it sprays in a line, and everything in the line gets damage. Then you get... Where is it? There's Staryu. Deals damage to all enemy behind the target with a 50% chance to make them confused. Then you have Cloncher. Deals special damage to the target and adjacent enemies. Then you have... Where is it? It's this guy. Opens rifts that deal special damage, so it's opens several rifts, like boom, and every target is actually hit. So it's also in line. You have this guy that dashes in a line and damages enemies in the way. You have this guy that shoots a shot in a line, specifically. And then, if I go to Psychic, because I don't know why it doesn't show in the water, you've got, where is it? You've got this guy, Gorbis, that also shoot in a straight line. Notice something? water units actually tend to shoot their spells dealing damage in a straight line or at least in AoE. Which means that you want to put your units close together, probably in a corner, and then they will shoot the spell, make a crossing, and the entire board will actually be hit by a flow of spells. And you can actually one-shot entire areas through these spells. And you want, of course, to give AP, as much AP and mana generation to these guys as possible. That's the way you kill units with water. You give AP to all these units that shoot in a line, and you just put them together in a corner so that they can actually make a crossfire that spreads through the entire enemy board. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Notice that Lapras is broken. If you get Lapras as a unique, you give it one tanky item. In this meta, I would consider giving it magic resist, and then one AP item and maybe a psychic stone or pretty much anything, and this guy can 1v9 entire rounds. It's absolutely gorgeously stupid. There's literally nothing to do against Lapras. It's absolutely busted. As for the legendaries, I would say Palkia is probably the best one, even though Volcanion is extremely good. Kyogre isn't bad at all, and Suicune either, since it's been buffed. All of these do the same kind of things, only these two are melee and these two are ranged. This one is these two are just as tanky as each other, so they add to your front line, which is what water looks for. But all of them deal AoE damage. These two actually shoot an entire row. You take one row of the enemy team and you wipe it, basically, you know? That's what they do. This guy is a dasher and this guy is an AoE destroyer. And I forgot to talk about the two eggs. The two eggs are also carries. They also do damage in area of effect. This guy is in a line, this guy is in a zone. But basically it's also exactly the same thing. You give them AP items and they will destroy your opponent with area of effect damage. Okay. So frontliners, carries, there are a few other units that we can mention. We can mention Finneon. Finneon, when casting his spell, dashes into the middle of your team and heals everyone in an area. And once evolved, it also has like 18 AD, so it's not too bad with his 2 range. So this guy stays in range behind the front line, and then every time it casts, it dashes behind your own front line and heals everyone. So this guy is a healer, and it's a very strong unit if you have a bulky board. Slowpoke, Mudkip, Totodile, Oshawott, Clamperl, Lapras, Relicanth, all of these units will love working with Finneon. They will absolutely love it. Then you have Clownshare and Wailmer. Both of them are sound. Okay? Sound is a synergy that actually gets better the more spells you launch. Every time you launch a spell, you get a boost, which works extremely well with water. And what can we actually notice? Look at this egg. It's also sound. So you can actually have 3 water sound units. With a few stones, you could very well be playing sound 4 and water 9. And with a lot of stones, even sound 6 and water 9, which would be absolutely crazy. So that is something that I will definitely keep in mind. There is a very rare occurrence of sound water team that can be available, and that you can definitely be looking out for if Clownshare and Wailmer are both available, and if you laid a few eggs. That's something that exists. Okay? Wingull actually gets you the rain earlier, but the spell is a bit underwhelming. I wouldn't play for Wingull. And did I mention, yeah, Carvanha fucking sucks. Don't play Carvanha. Kabuto Kabuto isn't that great either, but it's a fossil, so look at the water fossils. There are 1, 2, 3 of them. 4 of them with a unique. So if a lot of the water fossils are available, you can be playing them together, I guess. But there are better ways to play water, so that's an option, but that's not the option that I would favor. Okay, let's look at for some boards, because I think I gave you a lot of data. Do not hesitate to replay this video a few times if you need be. Let's look what we can do with the team planner. So, as a water player, your early board will always look kind of the same. You will have Mudkip in the front line, and then Squirtle in the backline corner. This is the best spot of Squirtle. I've tried playing him here, playing him here, playing him here. What seems to work the best, at least in the early game, is this spot. And then either Poliwag here, or if you can't get Poliwag, you get Azurill here. And maybe you can get Squirtle, so this is Poliwag, and then you can place it here because it's 2 range. Whatever. You got the idea. 3 small water units. This guy in the corner, if you get him, but keep in the front. This guy over here or over here, it doesn't really matter. Okay? And from this point onward, you can actually start fishing. Right? Let's look at what you could be given as early bonuses. You could have a lucky Horsey or a lucky Piplup. I would never play any of them, they are too costly. They would hurt your econ. They do not do enough with their 2 cost to be worth playing. Instead, you will want to be rolling for these tiny guys, especially these 2. And so every penny matters in this situation. You do not want to be spending money in 2 cost units. You want to be playing these 2 guys and roll for them. Okay? If you have a water region, your 4th unit is probably going to be this dude. I mean in the front line, of course. Right? And then the 5th unit, because you'll be level 5 pretty early, is probably one of the additionals. Okay? So it can be any of them really. The best one is probably this guy to activate Psychic 2. Okay? But it is not too bad if you get this guy. Just because he's also ice, as you can see, which means that if you get any ice stone or any water stone on an ice unit, or maybe even if you're lucky and you get the Lapras, then you can activate Ice 2 for pretty free. And Ice 2 actually gives you a lot of bonuses. Ice 2 gives +2 magic resist to the entirety of your team, and since this meta seems to be very, very special damage oriented, it's super precious to have Ice 2 activated. So this guy in a front line is actually super good. I would avoid the Tentacool. I would also probably avoid the Chinchou. These are pretty useless. This guy is not too bad, but there are better options. You're never playing for Amorphous. This guy is also Amorphous, but just in the same. It paralyzes. Paralyzes is pretty neat, but it's 1 range and it has no defensive stats, so it's not that good of a unit. So look out for Slowpoke, look out for Psyduck, look out for Shelder. Okay, these are the main units you are looking for when building your front line. If you get a lucky rare, this guy is decent. He can even replace Mudkip for the time being. Mudkip will come back, you know. And whenever you get Poliwag, you replace this guy with Poliwag, because Poliwag is a lot better than Azurill. And then, of course, if you get Staryu, you instantly play Staryu. It can replace this, and you actually weaken your front line to have a few more carries. If you want to be more tanky build, then let's get back the Psyduck and let's replace this guy instead, you know. Let's maybe play them here to create a crossfire over here and kill this area. But you get the idea, right? Carries in the back, psychic units in priority. This guy is prioritized over the other commons. Then the second better is Mudkip. You should always be looking out for Mudkip. If you can't get it to evolve, then if you get an early Totodile is better over this guy. And once it evolves into Marshtomp, you get the Marshtomp here. That's your early board before T10. Hopefully we evolved Squirtle by now. It's unlikely that these two units and this one has evolved. Because this is a very specific situation, let's get rid of it for now. And let's be content with our Poliwhirl. We have evolved all these three. We are in a pretty good situation with Psychic 2 activated. Now it's T10. If you get Lapras, you are the GOAT. Lapras goes over here, in the middle of the pack, and one-shots everything. If you don't get Lapras, this guy, same positioning. It's in the middle of your front line, over here, wherever you want it to be, doesn't matter too much. This guy is a backliner. You position it over here if you get him. And that's the unluckiest thing you could be picking, to be fair. This guy is a carry and it's too ranged, so I would put it over here. Or maybe here. One of these two spots, you know. And then it's a dasher. I mean, this spot is probably better. You could also just do this to spread your damage over here, and then this guy dashes and has better dash opportunities. This is probably the best spot for Keldeo. The corner here. Do not pack these units together, because then if the enemy launches an AoE, then these 5 units could all be focused. So this is probably better. What else can you get? You can get this dude. Again, just middle of the pack, somewhere over here. Same for this one. This one goes in the middle of the pack. I would place him in the corner because it's more carry oriented than the other uniques. So this guy would go in the corner here compared with the others. Same goes for Iron Bundle. I would put Iron Bundle in the corner if I ever get it. No, the corner seems to be a better spot for this dude. Let's say we are not perfectly lucky, but we are somewhat lucky. We have this dude. Okay, we have this dude. Then what is the ideal outcome? Because this guy is a fossil, you want to be looking for other fossils, right? Let's see. We'll notice that this guy is available. In order to activate Fossil 2, because as you can see with this setup, I do not have Aquatic available, I will take this guy and replace Poliwhirl. And thus I have Fossil 2 activated for my boy. Okay? If we are even luckier, it could be Kabuto. And then Kabuto becomes frontliner. And if we are even luckier, this is, where is it? Epic. If we are even luckier, this is this dude. Okay? But look out for a way to activate Fossil 2 once you get this guy. And then we are level 6, and we will be staying level 6 for a while. We will be slow rolling, which means we stay at 50 golds, and every gold that is over 50, we roll it. And the reason why is that now I want to evolve this guy. I want to evolve this guy, and I want to evolve... where is it? This one. I am looking for these two evolutions when I'm level 6. Okay? And while I do this, because at level 6 you've got a lot of chance to draw uncommons. Naturally, you should be getting this guy, and you should be getting this guy. This should be natural, right? They should just come naturally. Once these two guys have evolved, I didn't change my comp, you go level 7. So we can add a 7th unit. What would that unit be? Well, as you can see with this setup, I have a ton of frontline and not many carries. So I would be looking for a ranged unit. Okay, someone that can do damage. If we are pretty unlucky and not many additionals are available, then maybe this guy will do the trick. Because at least it is ranged. But this guy, we should also have kept this guy in the back of our mind. Poliwhirl, it was always on our bench and it can come back now. Because with this, you can activate Aquatic too. So this guy is probably better. Right? And then the game progresses further, and at level 7, I also want to be rolling. The reason why is that I want to get Slow King. Okay, I want to get the Slow King to evolve. And then, once I have the Slow King and these two, don't care about this guy if he doesn't evolve, it doesn't matter. I will only use my money to go level 9, slowly and steadily going level 9. And what we will be adding up, let's look at what is available. Is there any additional that we didn't notice yet? Yes, let's say this guy is available, we play this guy. And then once we are level 9 and we are lucky, we actually play where is it? Ultra. Yes, it's this guy. We actually play this guy. That's mostly going to be this guy because you won't roll. Okay, and then we have a level 9 comp. Right. First, you are level 6. You evolve these two guys. These are your core units. Then you are level 7. You roll for this guy. This is your third core unit. And then you go level 9 and you roll for whatever you can. Okay. Now, let's consider variations to this board. Right? The game plan and the rhythm should always be pretty much the same. Let's consider variations to this comp. We can notice that we have Aquatic 3. Maybe we want to get rid of this guy because we don't need it anymore and get a better unit. Then we could want to maybe play the regional, this guy. Boom. This activates us ground 2 with Swampert. A bit more tanky frontline. Okay, and because this is a more tanky frontline, we can actually evolve this Clamperl into the Psychic version. So you position it here in the backline before it evolves, and then when you evolve it, you will actually be getting, where is it? This guy. The way Clamperl works is that if you evolve it in the frontline, you get the Huntail, and it's aquatic. And if you evolve it in the backline, you actually get the Gorbis, and it becomes Psychic. Then I notice with this setup you lose aquatic, so let's get rid of this guy instead. And let's get, where is it? Let's get Poliwhirl back. Okay? By now, if you fished and were lucky enough, we may consider this is Politoad. But most of the time, it will probably remain Poliwhirl, because that is not your priority unit. And then we notice that we have Psychic 3 activated. So we may have been looking for, let's see, a Psychic Stones. And then who is the best holder of the Psychic Stone? It's obviously this guy, Blastoise. And then we activate Psychic 4, just like that. Okay? Let's say we have a Water Stone. Then we do not play this guy. If you have a Water Stone, we go here, we play Duocean with the Water Stone. Because the Duocean spell is absolutely busted, and if this guy gets water, it's absolute insanity. Alright? And then we do not have aquatic, so this guy can be replaced by pretty much anything. Let's say we are unlucky and we do not have the last water psychic additional that is Staryu. Then never mind. You do not need to go Psychic 6 necessarily. You already have 5 Psychic units that generate a ton of mana, and that have 100% more AP. It is unsatisfying, I understand that. You would want to get it to Psychic 6 because it looks better, but it is not necessary. This guy can be replaced by any water unit. Let's say we have 3 carries, we could use one more. What would it be? Let's say it's, for example, for the sake of argument, it's Wingull. Wingull is one of the worst one, but at least it's ranged. That's another good looking endgame board. Okay? Let's say we didn't get the Relicant, we got the Brooksish, then it will be Psychic 6. And yes, we lose fossils, but it doesn't matter, we just burst the enemy comp out. Okay? We have Amorphous 2. We could consider playing Amorphous 3 through maybe this guy, but even if this guy is available, I don't think Amorphous 3 in this situation does too much for you. It really doesn't. You can be playing it, but I don't think it's that precious. If you can get a better unit, it's probably a better choice to play the better unit. I would rather play this, you know, to heal my composition. I always avoid Ludicolo. Ludicolo is a good AD carry, but I don't think you should be playing for AD items and AD carries in water comp right now. You should only be looking for AP units. No. Let's say you got Lapras. Then maybe you either play an Ice Stone, or maybe instead of this Psychic Stone, you made another Water Stone, and then let's say this guy becomes an Ice unit. Let's see what Ice unit are pretty good. This guy is Aquatic, so you can be playing this guy with a Water Stone, and that would help you activate Aquatic if you really wanted to. And then another one, this guy is actually, if it's available, it's Ice Psychic, so you can actually do you can actually do a great job with this guy activating you Psychic. Okay, something to keep in mind. Among the better units, I mean, you could activate some Ice Fossils with Gorbis. If this guy was available, you could. That wouldn't change much things. And I don't think you should be playing for this guy, but maybe if you have a worse frontline, this guy isn't available or whatever, you can be playing this Ice unit because it's a frontliner. Okay? Maybe. But I would say this guy probably, and then hopefully you get one more Psychic unit. Or maybe even this guy was unavailable all along. This is your fourth Psychic unit, and then this is another frontliner. Let's say it is, where is it? It is this guy là, do what? Okay? Lots of variations. As you can see, a lot of things are possible, and stones do you a lot of good. Okay? Now, let's look at the itemization. For this guy, the go-to item is probably Aqua Egg, and then it is either this item, or where is it? Suldu. Suldu has been buffed, so Suldu isn't as bad anymore. Okay, after the buff, Suldu is actually viable. And you do not need a third item. Right? You need an Aqua Egg, one AP item, and this guy does not need anything else. It will already one-shot with every cast. Okay? You do not give anything else to this guy. Only 2 items, that's enough. That's absolutely enough. Nothing else. Right? On your frontliners, because this meta is going to be heavy AP, Lapras should always hold this. Lapras should always be holding this, no matter what. A very good item, because this guy will always be dashing close to as many units as possible with his spell. Do I have water? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. This guy is a very good holder of green orb. It's probably one of the best holder of green orb in the game, because look at the spell. It will dash in the middle of the ally team, so it will always be as close to your front line as possible, healing as much as it can. So he's an extremely good green orb holder, right? That's something that you want to look out for as a supportive option. Then what would Lapras need? Lapras could very well use an Omicron, because it will hit a lot of units if you get an Omicron, but Omicron isn't that much prioritized. You burst the enemy team anyway. So instead, you could be looking for this, right? Because everything actually works on Lapras. I think the Wonder Box is probably the best option. Or you could be playing this. Power Lens is probably going to be insane in the meta to come. I would trust Power Lens a lot. Or you could be playing this to generate even more shield than it already does. Okay? And another option, because there's a lot of options for Lapras, I would say is Regen. And I would then be playing this. There's a lot of things you can do. You can also, if you are lucky enough, play double Aqua Egg, but that's unlikely to happen, you know, that's very unlikely. This is a good option. Okay? And if you really face a lot of CC, then maybe instead it is Rune Protect, and you protect your front line. These two are the ones you want to protect. Okay? Pretty straightforward. If you get a lot of carry items, your other carry items, let's say you get more so that's no X-rays, you get more choice specs, then it goes to this guy. This guy is your secondary carry then. And it also looks out for mana generation, so you can give it this. And if you can't, give it this. Okay? These are the kind of items you are looking for. If you are able to play Lumineon, do not forget to give it the green orb. Alright? I would also say this max revive can be strong on many of your frontliners, especially the Lapras. Lapras will do super well with max revive. The items that you have on Lapras here, they can be on Swampert. These can very well be Swampert items. 1, 2, and where's the third? What did we say? 3. Okay, whether you stuff Lapras or Swampert, I mean, Lapras will do you more damage, but Swampert will survive for longer. So it depends on whether you want to be tankier or deal more damage. If you lack the carry items, maybe you want to stuff the Lapras. If you have the carry items, maybe you want to stuff the Swampert. Okay? That's for you to decide. Finally, I will mention the very late game when you get the Wishy-Washy to evolve. Of course, Wishy-Washy replaces someone in your front line. Here it's the Duot. Okay? It's a frontliner, you put it on the side or in the middle of the pack or whatever. It goes there. I don't think there's anything complicated with that. Just a big bad frontline unit that gets more and more HP as the rounds come. Alright. What's the conclusion? Things that you are looking for, additional picks. And in particular, the Psychic additional picks. So, Psyduck, Staryu, and Clamperl. Okay? These are the 3 additional picks you are always looking for. Other good additional picks are Shelder, this is regional, Lumineon, Barboach is insane, and somewhat Whalmer too. But I will prioritize Barbosh actually. So these are the additionals you're looking for. You probably should early roll at level 5 to get this guy, and this guy to evolve, because you will want to win a few early rounds, and then you level up to level 6. Once level 6, you slow roll to evolve both Blastoise and Swampert. Then you go level 7, you roll until you evolve Slow King, and then you go level 8 and 9 straight to activate Water 9. That's the rhythm of your game. I hope this helped. If some water player want to contest me, bring me some new things, do not hesitate to comment. Tell me in the comments in what way you play water comps, what units you think I forgot to mention and that will deserve more praise. And I will see you in the next video. As always, fuck the berry tree, fuck AoEs, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye people.